we all became friends from is like we all disc golfed together growing up. And I wasn't afraid to like leave everything in, set up 4 shots to find the one that I want. Back up. That's recording? We got 4 audios, guys. If we fuck this up, we're toast.
Have you ever met someone that is just so authentically themselves that it honestly just makes you feel jealous? Well, this is Broderic, and I think you will love this interview because he truly is the most unfiltered voice in disc golf, and I think that is something we desperately need. So I hope you guys love this interview as much as I did. Also, a huge shout out to Vessi for sponsoring this video.
Real life has to start soon.
Grew up with nothing.
I don't know what someone's gonna do when they hit that suffering.
We got so many like DMs and comments about that.
Today I have somebody very special. This is going deep.
We're going deep, guys.
We talk to the most influential people in the sport. Today I have my first creator, which is a super lame term, but this is Broderic. I'm sure you know about him if you know about me. What's up?
Chilling out here in Finland, you know, not sweating because I'm the only person who came over here who has AC in their Airbnb, so that's why we're here.
He's a little rich boy right now.
I didn't pay for anything. Shout out to Power Grip, both Europe and USA. Power Grip got me over here for Worlds. I've been doing a daily vlog series on my YouTube channel. Slightly daily because, you know, but yeah, they got me over here. Shout out to them. If there's any Broadbirds left, go pick them up. Flat top star Firebirds. Little kind of retro, you know, OG PFN Innova type stamp.
So you're someone that I followed since 200, 300 subs.
Okay.
I feel like you're the most authentic in a sport that just doesn't always meet that quota. How you kind of come to terms with like your editing style, your filming style, and why it does feel so authentic to you, whereas so many other people it feels not genuine.
Well, thanks for saying that. I think so basically how it all started was I had a freelance videography background and I put that very lightly. What I mean by that is that I bought a camera, decided I was gonna do videography, didn't know anything about it, but told people I did. They gave me money, I gave them a video, and no one ever complained. So I had a bunch of camera gear. I moved to Nashville. I didn't know what to do with my life. So I just played disc golf every day, like I pretty much normally would anyway. But then one day I was like, I should start filming this. Cause like, why not, I guess. And at this time, I didn't even know like disc golf content was a thing other than just like Jomez and like, you know, the normal stuff that you probably watch. But then when I was like a kid, I would watch like some OG like Frolf Haas. You probably know like some really shitty YouTube videos, but back in the day it was all we had. But I don't know, I slowly like started seeing some disc golf YouTube, I guess. And me and my buddy Ethan, shout out Ethan, we started filming. Oh, he is Ethan Robert Jewell.
Do it. Oh, come on, man! Are you fucking kidding me right now? That's on the channel! That's on the channel!
Basically, so I don't swear a ton actually in my, like, it comes and goes. There's ebbs and flows of it. But when you're with your friends, you're just out of pocket, most people, I would say. And so we would just film and we would just be super, like, just ourselves, I guess. It was basically like what you think of when you go play disc golf with your buddies. And we happened to have a camera rolling. We happened to be mic'd up. And then I wasn't afraid to like leave everything in and just let her rip. You know, I was getting videos with 200 views, but that would have like 10 comments, which is actually a very good like, percentage or something, I don't know. Yeah. And people just being like, God, I fucking love this guy, you know, like, because I was the only person who like would like drop an F-bomb. So I realized that very early on and kind of leaned into it. Like I knew what I was doing. Like I knew how to like somewhat like make content. So I was like, okay, people literally just want to see me and my friends like play disc golf and just act like normal disc golfers. I always say like, I'm probably one of the creators who I started playing in 5th grade. So like 17 years ago, I think at this point. And I started going to my local league probably shortly after that. And disc golf back in 2009, ish or something was a lot different than now. Well, it's actually still very similar in some communities, I feel like. But basically, I'm like 13 years old, going to my local league. Wednesday nights is like 6 p.m. And we would get out there, and it's like me, 13, 40-year-old Jim, ripping a dart with like a 40 in his bag. And like that culture is kind of how I came up. And now I always like, I've said that kind of like story like a few times on like different things. And I don't smoke cigs. I don't even smoke weed. I don't drink that much actually either. But I like recognize that culture, and I recognize that like that's part of the game when I grew up. And I guess like that's more of like a representation of like pretty much 50% of disc golfers, I think. And I just thought that there wasn't really any like disc golf creators who, I don't want to say like represent that side, because I don't think that's what I do, but I think represent more of like the unfiltered side, just kind of like the side of disc golf that is a little less like post 2020.
So on the flip side of that, because you don't really ever optimize for like views or like doing a certain structure, I feel like based on how many people know you, how many people like love your content, your average views aren't like huge yet. I think they will get there. But how do you feel about that? Does that ever bother you, or like whatever, man? Like I feel like I'm making great content. I love your content, but I feel like your views haven't necessarily connected yet.
Yeah, it's interesting because sometimes it's definitely like you know, you're like, God, I wish my videos did better, because I truly do believe that I'm making one of the best products in disc golf YouTube. I wouldn't say like the best, because I think there's people who are doing the best for like the sub genres of disc golf content, you know? So there's like disc golf content, but then there's like this style, this style, this style, this style. Whatever style that people maybe would put me in, I do think I'm doing it the best. Yeah. But that's not to say I think I just like deserve all these views and deserve, you know, a larger following. Do I wish I did? Yeah, because that means like more success, more financial security and all that. But I think when it really comes down to it, like you said, like I typically don't optimize for like the highest views. You know, there's a reason that like you probably won't see me do a video on the new Simon Line time lapse. Yeah. Because I don't care. I love Simon. He's actually like probably one of my favorite players. Yeah. Like love watching him play. But the fact is that I know I could go to today to Worlds. They're available like for the first time. I could go buy one. I could film a video. It'd probably get like, you know, it'd be one of those videos that does like 5 to 10K, and it would do really well. But like I'm not willing to do that because that's not what I want to make at all. And like, it's one of them things where recently I started doing a lot more like vlog style content, where it's like a little less like, hey, here's a brand new disc. Hey, let's do a disc golf challenge, like whatever. And more of just like, hey, here's like what I'm doing right now. There just happens to be like also some disc golf in this video. And I had a guy comment. I talked about it in a video, so if you watch all the videos, you kind of know what I'm talking about. But he basically was like, Brod, the reason you're growing so slow is because you're like not willing to, he worded it like better, but like basically like you're not willing to conform to, you know, the stuff that does well. And I'm like, exactly. Yeah. But like, yes. But so yes, I could probably be a little bit smarter about titles, about thumbnails, about just my video topics, concepts overall, but I don't enjoy that. You know, I've gone through phases for sure where like I'll do a bunch of review videos and they do really well, and it's kind of like, you know, probably the better way to like be, I don't know if I even want to say more successful, because your numbers might be higher, but I think what really matters is, you know, is like that one true fan has like, yeah, maybe I only have 12,000 subscribers, but I feel like I have, you know, 1,000 to 2,000 subscribers that like no matter what I post, they're watching it and enjoying it. And to me, that is so much more valuable. Like I can show up to a disc golf course, record myself playing a round, I can actually say nothing if I want because I've done it many, many times. Those are also I think my best videos, like ASMR ones. And they're going to get like 3,000 views. And I think, there's not even a lot of creators because there's like barely any creators in reality. But some people just rely fully on, the new hot topic, which is totally fine because somebody's got to do it. Yeah. But it ain't gonna be me. Yeah. I guess I don't even remember what the original question was, but it doesn't bother me, but I think in the end, if I keep at this slow trajectory, it's gonna just have so much more value than doing it maybe the algorithmic way.
Yeah. And I think there is so much value in doing what you want because burnout is going to happen if you don't love what you're making. Yeah, definitely. And I've definitely fallen into places where I'm making a video about a topic that I know is going to do really well, but either I don't care or I don't know how to approach it in a good way. So I'm making this video knowing that it's not going to be received well just because I know it's going to do well.
I've made a lot of videos. I bet I've made 40 videos. So I've posted probably over 450 videos since I started doing this. I've probably scrapped 40 where I'll go out, film the whole video. A lot of times it's probably a video that's about something I don't care about. I'll film it. A lot of times I'll even edit it. Yeah. And then I see the finished product and I just kind of look at it and I go, I do not care about this. And although some people might care, actually, I've talked about this a little bit, but then people are like, Brod, I get what you're saying and that you don't like this, but also we'd rather watch you talk about this than somebody else. Yeah. And so I'm like, am I doing a disservice to some people? Because hey, if you're a fan of me, maybe you want to watch me review the discs. But I'm still in the spot of where you have to cater to your audience, but also you have to cater to yourself. Yeah. And so sometimes those videos just get scrapped because I'm I don't even want the mental, the thought of me putting this out and not caring about it is enough for me to not put it out. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I go through a mental battle every week of this stuff. I do think about it a lot.
If you're anything like me, you want disc golf shoes that will give you versatility, grip, and shoes that are actually waterproof. Look no further than the Vessi Stormburst High Top, providing a premium experience and great comfort. So if you want to grab one of your own, go to vessi.com/wildruns and save 15% off your first order. I do think your walk and talks where you talk about recent events on Pro Tour, where it is super relevant and it's a fresh take, because I know you're not gonna regurgitate something that someone else said. It is super nice to hear that.
Yeah, those actually, it's funny because the walk and talk or toss and talks used to be one of my favorite videos. And I think, I don't even, not when I was younger, but when I was first starting these out, I was obviously younger, but I felt like I needed to say something. Mm. And then over the last 3 years, I kind of, probably a year and a half ago, I just had a realization that I was I don't need to have an opinion on a lot of this. Or I can have an opinion, but I don't necessarily need to share it. Yeah. Because there's so many opinions in this sport and it's kind of annoying. So I'm just I don't need to be another guy shouting into the disc golf void because it just doesn't matter. Yeah. So I kind of stopped doing those for the most part. Recently I did a video on, so I used the song Jersey Giant and pretty much 99% of my videos is my outro song. And I recently did a new kind of style video about it that was more of a talking head where it was green screen kind of type, stuff behind me. And I really enjoyed that because I was able to sit down and write out a story and really think through how I wanted to share this information. And so it's similar to the toss and talks where it's it is me sharing a story. I think I don't like giving my opinion as much as I like telling a story about my disc golf or not even disc golf, but just like life in general. And so I think that concept is something I really enjoyed doing, and I'm gonna start doing more. Like I have a whole list of topics in my notes that I think will maybe like take the place of the Toss and Talks, but bring a little more value, and in the end be like a much better video overall. Like much better editing, much better storytelling, much better just like I made that video, and it was like one of the ones recently that I was just like, I felt so good about. Like I was just like, God, I loved it. Like I watched it like, so I used to like make a video and then like watch it 10 times to be like, okay, is it like good enough? Yeah. And then for the last like year, I export that thing and I let it rip. I'm like, I don't care. Like if, like I do think it's like good, you know, but I'm like, I'm not worried anymore. Yeah. But that one I watched like over and over because I loved it so much. I was like, God, this thing just makes me feel good.
Yeah, I watched it because I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a good one. And I was like, okay, he's leveled up his cinematography, his storytelling. Like this is a good YouTube video, not a just good disc golf.
I also just bought a new MacBook for the first time since doing this, and I can finally edit things that take like time to load. So my old MacBook had to be plugged in at all times and sounded like an airplane was gonna take off and took hours to export. So with the new one, I get to work on my editing skills again because the computer doesn't freeze and shut down. So it's nice. Bro, it's like $2,000 for a computer, $2,000 like for feeling good about my financial situation. But at one point I'm like, nah, let's just pull the trigger. Like, you know?
Yeah, so let's talk about finances a little bit, because I love finance talk. So you live out of your van, but you have said, maybe this is off the record, that you will leave the van if you feel like you make enough.
Yeah, so basically, me and my girlfriend live in a van. I do this stuff. She's an online nutrition coach, so we can pretty much like work from anywhere and like kind of do whatever we want. We both kind of work on our own time. It works out pretty well. We moved into the van after living in Arizona for a couple of years. She's from Montana. I'm from Minnesota. We liked Arizona at first. Ended up kind of being like, I don't love it here. I need green trees. I need lakes again. Moved to Nashville, Tennessee. Unknowingly just like rented a house for a year in like Antioch. So where Music City Open is, if you guys didn't know, shithole of a area. Everyone who lives there, they won't be mad if they're like, yeah, he's not wrong. You hear the sirens during MCO, guys. Anyway, I lived in Antioch for what was supposed to be a year, ended up being 8 months because I was like, I'm out of here. So we bought the van, went up to Minnesota, built it out with basically the goal of like, hey, let's travel the US. It works out for like what we're doing right now, and let's find out where we want to live. And so we're kind of in the middle of that right now. We're like really enjoying a few spots, but what you're saying, like to answer that question, is in my mind, I want to be in a place where I can basically light $1,000 on fire every month and be like, whatever. And what I mean by that is pay rent, and if I'm gone for 2 months, not care. Yeah. And I'm not in a spot right now to where mentally I could be like, you know, I'd be out on the road and be like, it's the first of the month. There goes $1,000. Shit. Like, I want to get there and then like, you know, to like have that comfort, but also have that home base and, but still have the van, luckily, like, you know, so, and then be able to travel and do all that. Yeah. It'd be nice to maybe live in a place to where I could fly places and like, you know, like, say I live in Washington, it's like I could fly to Charlotte or something for a week or whatever. Like the reality is like we could go rent a place. It would be fine. Yeah. But I just like mentally, I don't think I could do it right now because it would feel irresponsible. Yeah. You know, we have a paid off van that we live in, and like I see my bank account get higher. I would hate to be where it's like continuously getting like a little lower. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I think this next year, it'll be like, we've been in the van for like coming up on 2.5 years right now. And I think we're definitely getting to that spot where it's like, we don't mind it, but like, you know, I think the next goal really is to like find a spot to like relax for a little bit. And I don't mean relax, I guess, but just like day-to-day life of living in a van is very inconvenient. You're constantly worried about like, where are you filling up water? Where are you sleeping that night? Where are you showering? Where's the next gym at? All that stuff really adds up, both like time-wise and just like mentally. So
You said you never go a day without showering, so you always have to find a new place.
yeah, yeah. I'm like the most, I'm not like a clean freak, but I hate being like grimy. And unfortunately, when you disc golf most days, you're grimy. And so I'm not the grungy van lifer who can like not shower for like 4 days. Luckily, we do have like an outdoor shower on our van, so like if need be, like we can do that, you know. Yeah. But my girlfriend also like power lifts, so we try to go to the gym like 4 or 5 days a week. And so yeah, I've lived in a van for over 2 years. I'm pretty sure I've showered every single night I've lived in that van, which I feel like most van lifers couldn't say. I don't know. It's one of them things. I'm just like, it's just, I hate being sticky.
So for some information you probably don't want to know, at Des Moines Challenge, I was like, I'm not going to shower tonight. And man, his look of disgust was just, it was brutal.
Because I saw you the whole day at Des Moines.
Yeah, you know.
Like, this guy puts in 6 hours on the course to film clips for a 10-minute video. I'm like, bro, I would go pick and choose. But I saw him, he's like dying, sweating, and then I see him later in the day, and he's not gonna go shower. I'm like, brother,
Where am I going to go shower?
I would go jump in the Des Moines pond. Like, yeah, but it's probably better. I don't know. I would at least have like at night when it got dark, I'd have got like a jug of water and just like poured it on myself. Like I'd have done something. Yeah. But whatever. Yeah.
So you mentioned powerlifting. I feel like you have more true distance, not internet distance, but actual distance, and you proved it at the Creator Challenge, than most creators. What do you think contributes to your amazing distance?
I have a 6'4" wingspan and I'm 5'11", so that helps a lot. I have really long arms. I've been playing for a long time. Like I said, since I was a kid. I've also been about the same size that I am right now since like 8th grade. Oh, wow. So I've always thrown far, you know, like relative, like I'm the guy who constantly like belittles his distance. Like I'm not the creator who's like, oh, I throw so far. I'm like, oh, I have such a noodle arm. Like,
but you prove it every video that you actually throw for it.
Hey, you know what? But I think I throw far for like the bottom 99% of disc golf, which in reality is pretty decent, you know, like, but I'm nowhere near the top 1%. You know what I mean? It's like I throw pretty far compared to like pretty much everyone else. But then there's these guys who I'm so far, like this gap is actually, they're here, I'm here, and then everyone else is here. That's how I look at it. So like when people are like, oh, do you throw far? It's like, no, not at all.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, I can throw. I'm also very realistic with it where I know there's a lot of people like, I throw 475. Yeah, dude, with the freaking G-Star Shrike, throwing it 100 feet high, left to right turn, full flight. It flew 400 feet far, but it also went 400 feet to the right. Sorry, but you don't throw 475. You throw 350 accurately, maybe. But I am actually a person who can throw like 410, 420 very accurately, in my opinion. You might not think so. But I'm also like aware enough to say, I throw about 450 on like a relatively consistent. But I don't really throw any further than 475 when I'm absolutely smashing the disc. So I'm the type who's just going to take that 4 to 450 and let it be very accurate and never really worry about getting much more than that. Yeah. So I don't know. It's like,
you almost never need more.
But I also do when my like shoulder and stuff is like healthy, I can throw like a 450-foot forehand. So I do know that's pretty far. Like that is, I go through phases where my forehand is actually further than my backhand, kind of depending on how like the body feels. It also probably helps that like not anymore, but I used to be fucking jacked. So like,
Again, for like internet muscles, you're still pretty jacked.
but like now, like I barely work out. Like I've been working out more in the last 2 months, 3 months actually, because I realize I'm super out of shape. But all I used to do is like work out like every single day. I always talk about how I used to work out at like 10 or 11 p.m. because I wanted to look forward to it longer during my day. That's like how obsessed with it I was. So a lot of it I would say is just like natural athleticism, being pretty strong, really good fast twitch muscles. I've always been really quick. So like, I think that helps. I would attribute most of my distance to just like natural athleticism and playing since I was a kid.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And how did you develop your backhand? It's just a unique throw.
Yeah.
That gets a lot of power, a lot of spin.
Well, so I have a really high spin rate. Well, like, I don't, once again, it's like, do I have a high spin rate compared to the top percentage? No, but I'm up there. So like, I think the difference between me is I don't throw that fast. Like most of my throws are about like 58 to like 62 miles an hour, which is actually pretty slow, but they're at about 1400 to 1450 spin. So it's like a slow throw, but with crazy high spin, which is the reason why I throw 9 speeds the same distance as 12 speeds. And the reason I throw Buzz SS is 375, but only throw destroyers 450. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
But I think it makes for a pretty like consistent throw because of the high spin rate. And I'm able to throw flippier stuff because I'm not cranking it with. So like if you didn't know, the reason you're yanking your drop, the reason your buddy who throws 300 feet thinks his destroyer is understable is because he's throwing faster than his spin rate, whatever that correlation is. So say he's throwing 66 miles an hour, but his spin rate is 950 to 1,000. That's bad. That's why he's like, dude, my brand new destroyer keeps flipping. Well, no, dude, you just suck. No, it's because your spin rate's really low. So you're basically like throwing the disc, but the spin is what keeps it stable, you know? So it's like.
You're watching these players on a relatively difficult course. How do you think you would perform on either course?
Well, so guys, we all know it. The question really is for me, is the putter going to go in? If it goes in, I'm a pretty damn good disc golfer. I'm good when I putt good. Like pretty damn good. But if I'm not putting good, I pretty much lose a stroke on most holes from that.
Yeah.
I played the Beast on Monday night with 6 discs, and I was 4 over through 10 holes, which isn't like horrible for like playing it blind, 6 discs, didn't have anything flippy, which screwed me. But then I crashed out at the end because I had been up for 30 hours and never even finished the round. I just started picking up my shots. That round means nothing. How would I do? Probably not great, but I think I'd keep like a respectable rounds together. I think that's like my strong suit is throwing the disc pretty good, so that I'm able to like just play a safe game when mentally I'm like, remember, like, hey, don't be an idiot. Like, just play your game. Yeah. Like, I'm pretty good at throwing really like dead straight shots. So like if I just do that over and over and over again, it's hard to get in trouble when you throw dead straight over and over and over again.
I watched one of your tournament videos, and I feel like I've never seen you like actually stressed. But in the tournament round, you missed some putts, and I was like, oh, okay. He actually gets stressed in tournament rounds for putting.
Bro. So I have like really, I don't know if I would say really bad, but I have like pretty bad anxiety, and I feel like people wouldn't think that. Like, never. Like, because I'm pretty like confident, like I can like, I don't know if like masking it is the term, but like internally, I'm like really like going through it a lot in terms of like anxiety, whether that be like, we talked about like my travel anxiety is like horrible. Dude, when I have a tournament, the whole week leading up to it, I feel like I'm gonna have a heart attack. It's like the whole, like, like I'm sure like everyone's felt that stress like at one point. I have that like a lot from like my anxiety, like overall. I also drink coffee the whole damn day. Doesn't help. But dude, when I'm playing tournaments, bro, I can barely, like, sometimes, like, if you had like a paper scorecard, I've gotten CTPs in tournaments before, and I can barely write my name on them because that's like how stressed I am and like how much the anxiety is like making me shake. Luckily, for some reason on the tee, I'm able to just kind of like power through it and like throw. But on the green, because it's such like a touchy thing, you know, it's so like so much more like specific. It just
There's only one right solution. It's not get close to the basket.
Yeah, right. I can get close to the basket. I'm the dude who, like, most of my rounds, I got like 14 birdie looks, you know, like most of the holes I'm putting it in circle one. But it's like, how many of those are going to go in? Because this, dude, it literally feels like I'm going to have a heart attack.
And then you carded that nasty ace. That
was sick. Won like $450. I did not cash, but I cashed. Yeah.
Shot a 1025 rated, 10 down.
So where do you see the future of your channel? And then following up to that, where do you see the future of disc golf content?
Whew. That's a tricky one because I think about that about every day. More specifically myself, because I like, there's so many days where I love doing this, but then there's so many days where it really like stresses me out because I know that like the reality of me like filming myself play disc golf 3 to 5 times a week is just like not sustainable. And so you have to like pivot at some point. And I think over the last month, that's kind of been like what I've began is like pivoting to like a little more like off course, like addition to my videos. And like we were talking about earlier with like building that core audience, which is how always been like my main objective is I think if I can continue to build that core audience that is like excited to watch me. I mean, in reality, it's like watch me just do anything, you know, and like just share my life. But we're all here probably at the beginning from this one thing we have in common of like being disc golf. But I want to start incorporating a lot more into it. You know, I'd love to be able to. I probably could already, honestly, but I'd love to start doing more videos that maybe don't have disc golf in them at all. But it's a scary thing to pivot because you're like, okay, are people just gonna be like, bro, what are you doing? I don't care about this. Like, yeah. So it's like it's tricky, but yeah, I'm definitely very aware of the fact that I think like the current state of disc golf is not like unsustainable, maybe a little bit, but it's very, very hard to just like, what am I gonna play disc golf 5 days a week and film it when I'm 40? No.
Yeah.
So it's like you gotta figure something out, and that's where like I don't know, and I'm not fully like attached to the idea of like disc golf content is what I have to do like for the rest of my life. But I do love this sport and I've played it pretty much my whole life, and it's been a part of my life. Although it pisses me off sometimes, and I go through phases where I hate it, but it's like I do love it. It's like all my best friends from back home, like the kind of the thing that we all became friends from is like we all disc golf together growing up. So it's like it's so ingrained into my life, and like they're like my best friends still to this day. Like we're like my birthday's next month. My 2 buddies are flying out to Washington. We're gonna go to a music festival and just play disc golf all weekend. Nice. It's like, you know, it's cool that I have like all my childhood friends that we have this common ground of like it's always been disc golf and then like a bunch of other stuff also, but like disc golf, you know? And so it's like this thing that is so important, but at the same time, I'm like, there is more to life. I'm very like hyper, I'm like an all or nothing type of person. Mm-hmm. I have a hard time like having multiple hobbies, and like kind of like for the last 3 years, pretty much the only thing I think about is making disc golf videos. And there is a point where I know I'm like, I need to like do some other things. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you gotta grind and you gotta work hard and you gotta put in the time, but it's like, I can count the things I've done in the last 3 years on like both of my hands, you know what I mean? That aren't like pretty much something to do with disc golf content. Well, I think it depends a lot on the money that comes in, because the reality is there's only a few that are going to be able to do this and like make it a career. That said, it's so interesting because I've, for the most part, been on the team of like saying like, oh, the barrier to entry in disc golf content is very low, because it is.
It is.
But the difference between like Bodanza and the dude with 2,000 subs from the outside might not look that big. It's like, you know, because like Bodanza's got 50K, which in disc golf is massive, but in the real world YouTube is kind of nothing. So that 2K to 50K, you're like, they're kind of in the same boat. No, they're not. You know, like, so it's tricky, because as much as you want to be like, oh, if you want to make disc golf content, like, do it. Think long and hard, because if you do a lot for a little, you know, and if your goal is to like do it on the side just to like get free discs, yeah, maybe do it. Like post a couple times a week, get on the mailing list. You get, you know what I mean? It's still some work, but like if your goal isn't to make it a career, you could probably get to the point where like you never have to pay for a disc again, which is fun. You know what I mean? Like it's like I just bought one of those Zone SS's yesterday, and I got a text from, like, because I live in a van and I don't have an address, so like one of my buddies lets me get stuff like sent to his house. He's like, hey, just got a box from Discraft that showed up. It's probably the Zone SS, the Paul Macbeth thing, the Fuse Scorch, and the Captain's Thrasher. That's like the current, like when you're on the mailing list, they send you that stuff. And it's like, why'd I buy this Zone SS? You know what I mean? Like, I just got one. But it's if that's your goal with it, then I think like the barrier to entry is low. Yeah. Like you could get there in a couple months, to be honest, if you put in the work. But disc golf content, man, it's I think this next year is gonna like really tell a lot. We all know, we've all heard the like, oh, disc golf, like COVID boom's over and all this, and it's gonna be like, who makes it out, who keeps at it, who's willing to like put the work in for potentially like less return than maybe we were getting, you know, a couple of years ago, or I don't know. And I think in the end you do have to like enjoy it, you know? I have this hard like mental thing where I like making videos a lot. Yeah. And I like playing disc golf a lot. But I wish I could play disc golf without having to film it all the damn time. I always say like my number one like asset or whatever would be some like a filmer. Like I'm totally cool with the editing. I love crafting my own video. I'm also kind of picky to where like if I had somebody film and it like wasn't how I wanted it, I'd be like, yeah. But if I could show up to the course and not have to set up the camera and like do all that, it would like, I think I would really enjoy the process. So that would be cool. But yeah, the future of disc golf content, man, bro, I just like, I don't know. Because this sport is weird. You know, I talk to a lot of like people inside the sport, the people that like see the money, you know, and know what's going on, and like, bruh. Like so like obviously like for a lot of creators, part of like our incomes or whatever is like commission from like a retail sponsor or something. So like Power Grip is my retail sponsor, and this is not me like complaining at all. You don't have to buy any discs. I don't care. I wouldn't either. I'd probably go to the local used bin. But so Discraft just reissued the drone recently. It's like a Flex drone, like classic reissue, they call that. I hope they start doing this with a bunch of molds, because the old Discraft stamps are so fire. But I saw those come out. I was like, that's so sick. I was like, yo, can you guys send me one? So like Power Grip sent me one. And I like did some like Instagram reel or stories or something with it, put the, you know, to like put the link. Hey, if you want one, check it out. The link had 50 clicks, which is like pretty good, like clicks. Yeah. no sales.
Oh no.
Which isn't that like crazy?
That is crazy.
Yeah, like
Freaking out.
because I hit up Zach, who's like the owner of Power Grip USA. I was like, yo, can you like check the numbers on this one? I'd love to know like how it did or whatever. And it's like a super sick disc. It's like if you've been playing for a long time, you know like the Flex drone is just like a classic backhand overstable mid. It's cool. Because I was expecting like 50 clicks. I probably sold a few. None. I was like, dang. But it wasn't that surprising because like that is disc golf right now.
Yeah.
Like other than like the MVP stuff, and I feel like
Even that's probably gonna go down.
maybe, but I feel like the Discraft Tour Series from this year was like a hot seller probably. Like they seem to be everywhere. They seem to like sell out, specifically like the Lunas and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. The disc golf market's weird right now, so I'm not gonna act like I'm an expert on it, but it's interesting. So we're gonna see. And I know a lot of the behind the scenes of like the numbers of like, you know, what people maybe make or what the disc sales or whatever, all this stuff, and like it's just interesting. I don't know. You see it like, man, like
I was trying to set up a fundraiser event. I still am going to do this, but like I wasn't even asking for a financial donation. I was just like, hey, just send me like 30 discs and I'll like have your brand as part of the sponsorship for my fundraiser. Like,
fundraising tournament.
I want to get into details, but
Okay.
not tournament.
Coming soon.
Yeah, I'm so stoked this actually has happened. But they wouldn't even give me plastic.
Really?
And that's like the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Like 2 years ago, we'll give you plastic.
Dude, if I
just
could
forever.
pay my bills in discs, I'm set.
So yeah, if brands aren't even willing to give plastic, then I think it's not the most ideal for right now.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm also one of the people who kind of looks at it as like, from what I've heard, and I know like Foundation has said this on like one of my like favorite podcasts is Hunter's like morning coffee hour or whatever, because Hunter is a very like smart business person, clearly, and so I like listening to like his insights on this stuff. Maybe it was on that show, I don't really know, but how he kind of put it one time was like the COVID boom was here. Okay, so like disc golf was here 2018, 2019. COVID boom was here, which was amazing. And then everyone's like, oh, the COVID boom's over. Yeah, but disc golf's still right here. Yeah. So compared to there, yeah, that was great, but like we're still here. And I kind of try and look at it like that as well. As like, yes, it's not what it was during COVID, but are we still on an upward trajectory? Maybe there's somebody who knows the stats and knows and can tell me that I'm wrong here, but I like to think that we are. So,
I'm trying to think of some metric like active PDJ numbers that.
dude, I think that might be like one of the most skewed things, because I guess active is a good keyword there, because I'm sure there's like so many PDJ numbers that got bought during COVID that have not been renewed.
Yeah, definitely.
They're like, oh, we got, what is it, like 200, they're probably over like, what, 250,000 now? Or
It's
like,
310, I
oh
think. last time I
gosh, I'm
checked.
way off. Okay. I'm number 80039. So I've been around for a little bit, not like super low, but like decently no. But I would be willing to bet about half of those are not active.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, like, it's tricky.
Yeah, so I made a web app where I gathered every single user, and I want to say it was like 40,000 active out of that 300,000 number. Yeah, what's crazy to me is like the current day, before I could go to like any tournament and I had to like register the day.
Like you could just show up in the morning with $45 and play a C tier.
Oh, yeah, before COVID.
Yeah.
But then during COVID, if you didn't sign up that day it opened, you
You're
weren't
toast.
getting in.
Yeah.
And now it's like, do I even register week of? I don't know. I might want to go out. I don't know. So it's totally different.
It's weird. I am glad, like, I feel like it's settling a little bit where you can kind of get into tournaments now, again. Yeah. I like that, because I'm not the type to be like, I'm playing this C tier in 2 months. Let's get ready for it. I'm like, oh, there's a C tier this weekend? What course is it at? Oh, that place is cool. Maybe I'll play. Like, and then
It's crazy.
come Wednesday night, I'm like, yeah, okay, I think I'll play. You know, that's kind of my style with that. So the idea that like you, for a few years, you're like, all right, so in 6 months, there's this tournament. Yeah, let me sign up for that. I guess you can get your money back. So like,
I think the first year that I did like a ton of tournaments, I want to say I signed up for like 20, just because like you have to fight for it if you're going to do it. I think I ended up canceling maybe 10 of those.
yeah.
But
I do think a lot of people actually did that during that time. Is like they signed up for everything and then just made sure to like be smart about knowing the cancellation deadlines, and then would just like cancel if they weren't going to show up. But
from some guy on Reddit 7 months ago, the cinema shots are spectacular, hardest working dude. And then out of all the content creators, Brod is the only one that isn't a total nerd or dork. I was like, that's so accurate. I love it.
that's funny. I feel like that one thing right there, there's a lot to get into with that. That's funny. I've never been on disc golf Reddit, probably because I just don't want to read about. I don't know if I'm on there much. Who knows? But you know, you gotta assume somebody's talking shit. But so I stay off. But thank you to whoever that is. So, like I kind of said earlier, basically I decided when I moved to Arizona that I was going to become a videographer. Didn't even own a camera, didn't even have a computer. I bought a Sony A6300 for $300. I borrowed a buddy's 2011 MacBook, and then I upgraded to 2015. So I learned how to edit, basically YouTube. You could pretty much learn anything there. The cinematography, I think, is another thing. So like the editing, I don't know. I just figured shit out. Why I think I'm decent at it and why I think like my shots are some of the best out there is I just think I have like an eye for that stuff. I just simply like know what looks good. Like if you ever like were just watching me film a video, while I'm walking to my lie, all I'm doing is like assessing the fairway and seeing like where should I put my camera to like capture the sun over in that corner and have these big green trees in this corner and have, you know, me in the bottom third and the basket in the top third so that the putt flies across the screen, but I'm also capturing like the leaves coming into the shot here with the sun flare in the corner. And I'll run around to 4 different spots before I go try and make that putt to get that shot. I'm not the type who's just gonna be like, plop, ching, good enough. Like that's not me. Like I'll literally like set up 4 shots to find the one that I want. Not like a perfectionist, but I just like can't handle if I were to like take that shot and then I'm editing and it looks like shit, I'd be mad at myself. Sometimes, dude, I'd be on a hold for like 15 minutes. No, but I said no, but I'm serious. If you're gonna check out one video, check out the video called "This Is What the Color Green Sounds Like." It's my best one, trust me. And you don't even have to listen to me talk anymore. I don't say a single word. So like the cinematography is a thing that I knew one, it like set me apart, but also in my mind, like I'm not gonna do this if I don't do that. Like I see no value in making a shitty video, you know what I mean? And so I just really enjoy that. It's one of them things that I like. I like the look of. I also saw that nobody in disc golf was like doing that, you know? And so I knew I could like bring that skill set or bring my eye or whatever. I think it also has to do with the fact that like that Reddit post is kind of funny of like, Brod's the only guy who's like not a nerd or whatever. Like looks. So disc golf's cool because disc golf will make you be friends with a person who you would never be friends with in the real world, which is just like such an interesting thing. I don't think there's a lot of sports like that. You know, like if you grew up playing baseball, all the players, you're pretty similar. You know, playing football, we're all pretty similar. But disc golf, you're not most of the time.
It's stuff that I would never think about. And like you taking 15 minutes for a shot, that's stuff I would never think about. Because like when I'm recording a round, I'm just like, yeah, I have this goal in mind. But the shot, like the film shot, I don't really think much about.
Yeah. Like, so this is funny because you're going to be like, Brod, chill. But I filmed the video in Montana a couple weeks ago, and pretty much like every shot, and wasn't like an ASMR one, so it doesn't need to be like perfect, you know, but I'm trying. And I'm filming all the shots. And there was one hole, and I wasn't mad at my girlfriend. It's fine. I didn't actually care. But Paula, she, like, a lot of times I'm filming and doing this, and she's like just walking with me or whatever. And I set up this shot. I didn't know where my disc was. It was like kind of tucked in the woods a little, but I set up what I thought would be the shot. And then I go, and then she's like, oh, you're like right on the edge of the frame, which I was like, well, that's a no for me. I got to fix this. Yeah. But I was like in the wet grass. So I was like, hey, can you like reframe it, you know? And then, so she goes behind the camera, or she's like, I can't really like get the frame you want. And so I'm like, okay, will you like go behind the basket? And in my head, if I'm filming a shot from behind the basket, what I'm trying to do is I'm going to go, 30, 40 feet behind the basket. I'm going to zoom in a little bit because I want the basket to be in the foreground as like kind of the main thing. And then I want me to be in like the top right third putting because like that's the frame I want. Yeah. And in my head, that's obvious. In Paula's head, that's not obvious. So I'm like, yeah, go like 25, 30 feet behind the basket, blah, blah, blah. So she does that. In my head, I'm thinking, oh, she's going to zoom it in. Why would she? She doesn't know what she's doing. And so basically, I'm editing this video. I'm like, oh, this is a beauty. I love this. Like, it's looking so good. I just like the shots and I get to that clip. And I didn't know this at the time either, but what she did was she was just like 30 feet behind it, holding, like sitting there, and she didn't actually set the tripod down. She like held it. So the shot is kind of like a little like, it's slightly moving. And it's like I said, I didn't actually care, but for my like mental of like my like OCD, I was like, this shot is wobbling. It's like I wasn't like mad actually, but I was just like, oh, it's like not what I wanted. Yeah. And that stuff like drives me nuts.
That's why you're so good, is because you care so much about these little things that most people don't even think about.
Not a single person who watched that video was like, oh, bro, this shot's wobbly, bro. You suck. But me, I sat there and like dwelled over it for like 10 minutes trying to be like, how can I make this look the best it can look? Yeah. Nobody cares. Nobody's going to see it ever. There's like people say like a lot of times, like if a video is 80% done, send it out. Because the last 20%, nobody besides you is ever going to notice. And I try to do that sometimes, but most of the time, I don't let it slide.
Yeah. All right. So with that context in mind, I've done this, and I want to know if you've done this. You set up a shot, you work really hard on the framing, and then you just totally shank your putt. Do you ever redo?
Oh, no. Like, it's like, I fucking suck sometimes, so it's like, whatever.
Yeah, it adds to the video that you're relatable.
Yeah. It's just like, it's funny because I feel like for me, you might see some of the most contrast in rounds of like, bro, I'll go play a course in shred. And then I'll play 2 days later, and you're like, this dude sucks. And at first, like back in the past, I hated the fact that I would like, I'd go play and I'd miss a freaking 15-footer. And I was just like, oh, like, bro. And it kind of like got to the point where I realized like, nobody cares. I like the idea of the shot ending with like the band getting drilled instead of like this. It's more of an audio thing actually for me, is that I don't like the idea of like it like trickled off the cage. So I'll like redo that 10-footer and like bang the band so that the transition can be bang. So like, is that like?
I've never thought about that.
Yeah, so like it's less of a visual, it's more of an audio thing. So like one of my biggest pet peeves is like when people cut sentences in their videos like mid-sentence. I don't like my shots to like go to the next shot without the audio like being cohesive. And in my mind, when it's like a bad like sound, I don't like that. Yeah. So I'll like do that. Like I want the band hit to be like the sound. I don't know. Maybe that's me going over the top with things. No, I think of every detail through. So when I'm filming, I already like know how I'm editing it. So like stuff like that some people might never think of, all I'm thinking of is like the flow of the video. So like that type of stuff, I'm like, oh, I want it like this instead, actually.
But how does that not take you out of the moment and not like play normally or?
Oh, that's just how my brain works. So it's kind of unavoidable regardless. Because like, dude, if I'm filming and I'm playing, I'm fully thinking of like how this is going to look when I'm editing it. Like, that's why I try and like, that's why I do how I do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know.
You're 1%
Maybe that's
psychopath.
weird. Is that cheating? I don't know.
Yeah, with Birth My Son, I felt like fuck disc golf for a little bit. I was like, I'm just so, it just doesn't feel important, doesn't feel relevant. Do you feel like you are getting to the point of disc golf burnout? Do you feel like you have felt it before?
I've like felt disc golf burnout like every other day for the last 3 years, basically. Like,
So with YouTube.
Yeah, like that's the reality of it. I think it's just such a like. I think that's kind of how it works with like any. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just like crazy. I don't know. But I feel like anything that you love, you also hate half the time.
Yeah.
I don't like, and that's just. I think because disc golf like frustrates me a lot because it's like, yes, I'm a content creator, but I also like care so much about like, I don't care about like being good. So you guys are like, oh, he's so good. It's like internally because I like was so competitive growing up and like, you know, played baseball, played football, was like pretty good at baseball and football. Like, and then disc golf has always been this thing that I feel like I'm so close to figuring out. Like I'm so close to being like pretty good, but it's like, why was I so successful at these things? And it was so easy to be good. And then there's like this thing that I've been doing the same amount of time that I just like can't get. Not perfect, but like perfect, you know? It's like, why can't I get there? So I think it's like this constant like mental thing of like the play of like, am I playing good? Are the videos like doing good? You know, because a lot of times like you make your favorite video ever and then it's like the worst performing video. That's like how it works. And then you review the freaking new Innova Gorgon and it does 10K or something, and you're like, cool, thanks for watching the Gorgon video, guys. Like, you know, so it's, yeah, like the burnout is a thing that, bro, maybe I need to do something else. I don't know. But yeah, big time. Like I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. I'm definitely like a overthinker. Like I think a lot about like my future and like this stuff. So it's like I'm constantly like in my head like overanalyzing everything. And so it definitely is like it's just all up and down, I feel like. But there's also the times when you get like the like positive feedback that you're like, oh dude, I love this shit. Like, you know, it's like when I made that Jersey Giant video like a couple weeks ago, that got a ton of comments. I had people, like grown men in the comments being like, you know, bro, like sometimes I'm like watching your video after a hard day and like I hear Jersey Giant come on and I like get a little teary eyed, man. Like it just kind of, and I'm like, that's wild. But I love that, dude. Like that's so crazy. So it's like you have some days where you're like, man, I hate this game. And then you get comments like that and you're like, I love this shit. Like, this is the best thing ever. Like, these people are just like vibing with it. Like, they're feeling it. But then you're just like, I don't know. So it's like, it goes up and down. But yeah, burnout, I feel like every creator, there's no way people like just make these videos and every day they're like, this is the best. I love this. But I also like realize is like, I've got to play disc golf as much as I want for the last 3 years. Every single day if I wanted, and like, you know, but there's like positives and negatives. Some people are like, bro, you get to play disc golf every day. Yeah, but like there's more than just that.
Come on! Let's go!